remember? Blah, 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 blah.
Ooh, should have been prepared with this bit.
I haven't got the minerals to go full throttle in this car, I tell you. It's a fair beast. Ooh. It all started working on a series in my dad's shed. I followed my dreams and joined the Marines, serving in Afghanistan. Defenders were always part of me. So here we are, building custom machines with my awesome team in Shropshire. We are Mahker. Hi guys, I'm Dave and welcome to Mahker. Today is another busy day, funny enough, and I'm going to give you a little walk around about what's going on this week and what we've been putting together over the last few days. Follow me. So what we've got here, this is a Cummins 5.9 12 valve 6BT. This is coupled into a 130 adapter chassis. So we're working on mounts now to give you a drop-in kit. If you look under here, capture that angle there, Ben. So this will basically bolt in. This mount here is a Dodge Ram Mopar mount. So that mount is available off the shelf from Summit Racing, those kind of suppliers, and this will be our steel bolt-in mount. So you'll be able to, those will be available soon. If you come under here, this is the alloy adapter that bolts the ZF lorry gearbox to the LT230. Inside there is a collar that's basically part of the input gear that adapts the lorry gearbox to the transfer case. Because this car is heavier than usual, carrying the engine up front, and it's going to be a hauler, this is designed for hauling concrete blocks around. We've given it Salisbury axles. These are actually military special axles, so they can carry even more weight than usual. And we've given them some nice ARB diff covers. These axles are renowned for being stronger than usual. You normally find them on 101, forward controls, that kind of thing. So those of you that follow me on social media, you'll notice these coolant pipes here. Normally, a 200 TDI will have a stainless steel line that runs along here. It normally has a dog leg in it because normally your actuator is sitting inside the engine bay. But what we've given it now is we've raised the bends up to find an easier route to the heater box. If you want a set of these guys, they're coming in now, I think they're about £350, including the silicons. So if you want a set, get in touch. These have been powder coated black. These are actually, in fact, made in aluminium. We've used some nice billet spacers just to make it practical and finish off nicely. Some miles in Wombat. Wombat has been a very tedious machine, so we had a few issues. So the owner of this car, Michael, said, Dave, he said, I've got this very intermittent issue, and he says that the car was cutting out, we found, as it was dropping down hills and times when it wasn't requiring fuel, if you like. And me and Sam, we scratched our heads and thought, what is wrong with this car? Tuning was good. You know, there was things that could always be better if we had a lot more time, etc. But we couldn't put our finger on what was wrong, okay? So we had the car back, we looked for everything, and we found a relay that looked like it'd been hot. Anyway, we scratched our heads a little bit more, and we looked at the fuel pump. We fitted the biggest aeromotive fuel pump money could buy when we built this truck, because this car is a thirsty machine when it comes to fuel. And when we looked at the specs, we found out that the spec of the pump that we actually had, well, the one that was on the paperwork, if you like, was one spec, and then the pump itself was actually a lot higher rating. So the wiring that was there, that was supplied with the initial kit from Michael when we built the car, was not up to spec, if you like, and the relay wasn't up to the right size, etc. So I contacted Aeromotive, Summit Racing. Those guys had a kit in stock. The wiring guide was monstrous. It was like the kind of thing you power a big amp with. So anyway, this kit came. It came with an automatic resetting trip and things like, you know, it had like big M6 terminals. This was a Fairlight wiring harness. So we looked at this and thought, bingo, that is the problem, and this is why we've had a fuel issue. So when this pump was demanding a lot of fuel, the pump was simply tripping the relay and causing issues. So, but we had no fuses blowing, which was odd. So electrical can be a very dark art. So we installed the Aeromotive kit, and lo and behold, no more problems with stalling. So we've always wanted to get this car on the dyno, so we sent it to our good friend John Sleath up in Doncaster. John Sleath is a very well time-served guy, and when I say time-served, God, you want to see his workshop, it's a dream. It's full of big blocks, 454 big blocks everywhere, from circuit cars to rat rods to hot rods, you name it, John has got it. So I've had a relationship with John now for about 5 years. He tunes all of our LS3s, LT1s, you name it. So I gave John a call and said, John, I need you to tune this LSA. So we sent it up there. John put it on the dyno. I explained to him that this car lives in London and that it requires manners. We're not hunting horsepower. John got, I believe it was about 380 at the wheels, which I was very impressed with, and a very good torque figure. And boy, like now the car is so much smoother. He's ironed out a lot of the niggles that were haunting us. He's ironed out, you know, low down fueling issues that we can't do because ourselves we haven't got a dyno. So we can only road tune to a certain standard, if you like. So very chuffed with this vehicle now, and as you can see in here, this car is one hell of a machine. And I'm trying to replicate what Michael would be doing, you know, nice slow roundabouts. I can't simulate sitting in traffic on end as London because we just don't have that in Whitchurch. But what I can simulate is everyday driving. And this vehicle is, look, we're having a conversation in here. There's not much outside noise. The sound deadening has done its trick. And as you can see here, look at the cockpit. We've got an array of gauges, keeping an eye on things. And this gauge is from a Spitfire. How cool is that? And when we were doing this car for Michael, he explained he wanted this aluminium dash. I had this gauge sat on my desk for about 2 years, and I had to gift it to him because it's just so cool. I was saving it for a ZIL project with a turbocharged V8, but that project's probably going to happen in the near future. So what better to give it to a client that loves boost, and just listen to this car. I'm only doing 60 miles an hour, and it sounds amazing. We wanted to give this car, you know, passion, and we wanted to give it love, and we wanted to give it one hell of an experience. And this car is actually riding on 35-inch tyres, okay? And look at it, it's safe, it's stable. There's not many Defenders you can do that in. This is riding on our 2.65 Bilstein pre-runner shocks, monstrous shocks, huge reservoirs. These shocks are built for doing desert racing. And here we are in a 110 with a big heavy cage on it, big fuel tank on board, and she rides beautifully. Look now, I'm doing 50 miles an hour, and she's super happy. Here we've got a lovely dash setup, this Alpine setup. We love this in all our cars. It's the wireless Apple CarPlay that I love. You haven't got to touch your phone, it's all available on there. And if anything, guys, it saves you getting those points on your licence. I wouldn't advise, you know, texting on here, but you can definitely answer a phone. acceleration noise is just addictive, guys. It sounds absolutely amazing. So, everyone's asked for driving videos. This is what an LSA sounds like, okay? And I'm just going to break down and drop down a gear just to let you lovely listeners and followers listen to this thing. You ready? Just listen to that. That's mild acceleration, guys. I haven't got the minerals to go full throttle in this car, I tell you. It's a fair beast. We've given this car some big 6-pot calipers up front, 4-pot AP rears, and boy, you need it. This car picks its feet up. It puts the horses down to the ground, guys, via ATB diffs front and rear. There's some serious pegging going on, if you like, on those axles. We've got heavy duty ring and pinions. We've got a stage 2 Winchester gears transfer case. Inside the transfer case is an ATB differential, diverting the power front to back as and where it's required. We've given this car a really funky diff block lever, which is a 50 caliber bullet. Just check that out. It just makes all the right noises. I can only imagine what one of these engines in a Defender 90 ragtop could be like. I think it would just be mental. So if anyone wants an LSA in a Defender, please get in touch because I want to build it for you. It's just the noise this thing makes. It's from the quad exhaust on the back. We've got one hell of an exhaust system on this car, so I'll just break that down for you. So we've got, on this car we've gone with cast headers. We had a big issue with harnessing heat on these Defenders, so the cast headers that are ceramic coated help harness the heat in the engine bay. From their headers we go into the 2.5 inch either side. The 2.5 inch then goes into an X-pipe silencer. Inside, basically the gases cross. Once they cross, guys, makes for amazing scavenging and also that ultimate noise. Those of you remember from the last episode, the two fat people fighting in a well, remember? Blah, 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 blah. This car gives you that ultimate noise. I'll try and simulate it. It whines more than my missus, this car. I'm sure most men would agree. Would they rather a car that has an induction noise like that or a missus that whines like that? So there you have it, guys. This is the Wombat. I love it. I hope Michael loves it when he has it back early next week, and it's just fun. If you want one, guys, join the queue because we've got a fair waiting list, but I hope you've enjoyed it.
Right guys, so today we're on with making some cross members for the LS3 and LT1 engines. This is part of his full kit to mount the LT1s or the LS3s, and yeah, it's just a cross member underneath that holds transfer box basically. And way back when we started doing it, we used to use bits of box section and just end plates, but now we're getting a bit more on with them. We've got a bit more serious with it, and we've got laser cut parts that sort of all fold up and jigsaw together, and it makes a really nice sort of cross member for them. So this is just what they come in straight from laser cutting, just flat jigsaw pieces if you want. On here I've marked out some lines where I've got to fold the edges up. That make like a bit of a channel, And then this piece, when it's all folded up, will go on top, like that. And then we've got these laser cut tabs that will hold the bushings, and they'll sort of slot through there and through there, and it will kind of make a bit more sense when you see the finished product, really. But yeah, they look quite smart when they're done. Right guys, so this now is the finished cross member. Now we've welded it and folded it and everything's been done. It's a mixture of TIG welding and MIG welding, just for sake of speed and neatness. Like the central bit here, all these tabs that slot together that we saw pushing together, they're all just TIG welded in here. And then the bigger tabs and the end pieces, they're MIG'd on, because it's all jigged up in the jig, and it's far easier to get round it and quicker with MIG on that bit. But here we don't want big MIG welds sticking up, and we don't have to grind them off. Nice little TIG welds. And yeah, as bushings will go in there, and that'll hold the transfer box and mount it all properly. And yeah, underneath we've still got his Mahker logo cut out of it. And for the sides we've got some nice stainless trims with, again, logo cut out of it. I don't know, it comes with the film on when you get it cut, but underneath it's... ooh. Should have been prepared with this bit. It's nice brushed stainless underneath. There we go. Yeah, it's under there. We've got nice brushed stainless. And all they do is rivet on the sides in here when it's all nice and powder coated. And it just trims it up a bit and makes it look nice, even though it's under the car.
The main thing is that you know it's there, don't you?
Oh yeah,
Nobody
anyone that
else ever has
sees
to
it's
see
going to appreciate it.
That's it.
It's the effort that counts.
Awesome. Thank you, Tom.
No worries.
So Nicky, what are we doing here?
Basically making an aluminium intake for one of the LT1s. We're going to use a turntable just so it turns and makes life easier, and it's a nicer weld at the end of it, really. So as it's turning, I'll weld it up. It's a nice uniform weld.
Sweet. Sort of the lazy Susan of the
people say it's cheating, but I just work smart, not hard, and it looks better at the end, basically.
Okay, let's get to it.
Do it.
Easy as that.
Just a bit better, easier to weld. And that's it.
Awesome. To recorder. So just quickly before we get in the engine bay, why have we had to fabricate this specific shape?
Basically, I don't know if you can see down here, we've had to modify the cooling system where the fan is. If you have a look down here, we've had to put a smaller fan in, just so we got enough room for the pipework to go through. Because a standard big fan doesn't really fit with this intake because it was limited on space basically. So let's go in something like that.
So it's a difference between the cooling kit, I'm guessing.
Yeah, that's just a standard cooling kit.
So we've got another LT behind us here, and that looks like it's got a little bit more space, maybe?
Yeah, just the engine set a bit different on that one. That's manual and this one's automatic.
Right.
So the engine is in a slightly different place.
Yeah.
So this one's tighter and less room than that one. So we just had to fabricate it and make it fit, basically. And it's pretty much there. It's, you know, that's where it's going. You know, we're playing in millimeters, not inches, with space. And it's a good job the engine doesn't move much on the engine mounts.
Mm.
The air filter's going inside here. The air filter's going to live behind here, behind the light, out the way of all the dust, water. You see, there's not much room at all. That's where it's going.
It's just another day of problem solving.
Yeah, just making things fit and work, basically.
So here we are, this is Dirty 130. This is our shop truck, so development car slash test pig. You know, this car gets abused, it gets used, and it does earn its keep. This car's pulled plenty of things to shows, it's done all sorts of jobs for us, but more than anything, we've trialled things, we've tried roll cage mods, we've trialled Dakar wheels on the back, we've tried carbon fibre bumpers, and it's the first car we put a red winch on, and we got it stuck, we winched it out, lots of testing, but most of all, lots of you asked for driving videos. So here you have it, this is the straight 6 M57 330D, but with one hell of a big turbo. I'm going to demonstrate. Just listen to that. We've got turbo noises, we've got an exhaust note. This has got a teardrop side exit exhaust. It sounds a work of art. It's a bit leery for doing everyday things, I'm not gonna lie guys, but it's out there with the fun, the toys, and the ugly, if you like. I am going to request that we had a silencer, guys, not because I'm boring and I'm old, but because I want to use this car a bit more. It owes me a pretty penny, and I actually want to start using it. It drives nice. It's on the highest spec old man emu shocks money can buy. But let's get down to the nitty gritty. So M57 330D, let's say tickling 400 horsepower. This car has got enough torque to drag anything that you put behind it, and very reliable at that. The engine in this vehicle has done nearly 200,000 miles, and I did that because I wanted to see how strong these engines are when I push them hard. This has got a dark side development turbo that is about this big. VNT technology. Glenn at GKR Tuning has tuned the life out of it. This has got a set of his custom injectors. Sorry guys, just had to do that. And myself and Glenn have been playing about with these Defenders for about 10 years now, and Glenn keeps saying, Dave, let's try this, Dave, let's try that. This has actually got a 300 TDI airbox on there and a 3-inch inlet pipe feeding the turbo. So those of you that say that a 300 TDI standard airbox strangles a 300 TDI, you're full of it guys, because proof in the pudding, this car can breathe, and it can breathe very well. It's got a monstrous intercooler to keep intake temps down, and I love it. It puts a smile on my face every time I drive it. This is a 130, don't forget guys, and it shifts. I want to say this would actually show up a few hot hatches, okay? Puts a smile on my face, does its job, and sounds the absolute part. A straight 6 on song guys, I'd say that's where it's at. But in a comparison world, an LSA or a 330D, they're worlds apart guys. The LSA probably does 15 to the gallon if you're lucky. This will do 30 to the gallon if you're on a motorway run. Horses for courses, same as the last episode. If you want a toy guys, go for a V8. The noise of a V8, you sometimes don't even have to drive it hard. It sounds fantastic. It sounds just fantastic. I don't know what words to put into a V8 other than fantastic. But this truck here, it's a workhorse, okay? It's a toy, and if I needed it to graft and drag 3.5 tons behind it, it would do it, and it would laugh at me all day long, guys. This car's on 37-inch BF Goodrich KM3 tyres, big lugs, big tyres, and it still shifts. It still spins the tyres. We've got a heavy-duty satch clutch in here, guys, that handles the power. We've got the original MT82 gearbox. The cab, guys, looks totally original, just look at it. We've got standard clocks, all working. We've got here a Turbo Smart boost gauge that goes all the way to 60 PSI. I'll demonstrate why in a moment. On the left here, we have a Spa oil gauge. So these gauges originally inspired me when Michael bought a couple for Wombat, but what I don't like, guys, is that the settings are so difficult to organise and calibrate and adjust. So I'm sorry Spa, I will not be buying your gauges again. And I just love stack stuff. It's simple, it does what it says on the tin. So that's it for me, guys. So this 330D is an absolute weapon, and if you want me to convert your Puma, guys, after you've got a Puma engine that's failed, don't be afraid to get in touch. We can do standard form. We can give you 200 horsepower, we can give you 250, or we can give you 300. Get that boost gauge to go up into action. So guys, that's another episode over. Thanks again for watching, guys. I hope you love the sound of this beast as much as I do. Anyway, thanks again for watching. See you again soon.